Hey pilots, Drain Man here, and today I have got a very special video. If you are at all into Cinewhoops, you are not going to want to miss this, because this frame here is the all-new, brand new Pavo25 BetaFPV frame, and this frame is sporting it all. Whether you're doing commercial flying or flying just for fun, if you want that juicy, flowy Cinewhoop footage, this is going to be the frame for you. Let's go. Alright pilots, so this frame literally just came out, and it is part of the Pavo series, and there's the Pavo 30, and there's all these other frames, the 95X V3, and there's very similar frames, but none of them are quite like this one. This is a 2.5-inch frame. It's about 118 millimeters. It's got a PA12 plastic frame with a 2.5 millimeter carbon fiber plate. The motors get mounted inverted, and it's got little foam around the edges, so if you bump some stuff, it'll be all right. This is really an ultimate superior Cinewhoop frame, and I'm super excited because not only are we going to check out the new frame, I'm going to build it with you guys from scratch together right now. So let's go ahead and crack this puppy open. So you get your box, here's your box, and when you open it up, right on top you got yourself some instructions so you know how to put your actual frame together, which honestly I think it's 4 or 5 screws, putting your plate on, and you're done. So it's very user friendly. If you're new to building or experience, doesn't matter, you're not going to have a problem assembling this guy. Next up, we've got our beta card, which has all of our UR codes. Whether you're trying to follow them or learn more about the products, you can do that with that. In this bag, you've got some TPU prints. You've got 2 battery straps, and they've got the reflective material in them. Then you've got some double-side sticky tape, very, very thin, and that's going to be to hold our foam. Let me find that for you. So right under here, you're going to say, Drain Man, why is there 4 of them? Well, there's 2 red, 2 black. So you can choose. You can go red and black together, or you can go all red or all black. Here is that PA12 plastic frame we were talking about. This is awful freaking sturdy. Look at that. So it's not too stiff, but not too flimsy, but it's not going to crack the first time you bump. I mean, I'm not hitting that lightly, and it's durable. Now you've got your female threads that are actually molded into the plastic, so that way when you drive your screws in, they can go right into the plastic with no problem, and you're not putting your metal screws into a plastic thread. These are metal threads that are molded into the plastic. Very, very nice. Now down here is going to be your little pocket where you'll keep your VTX, you'll keep your stack, you'll keep all of that fun stuff. Next up, we have this bag here that's full of goodies. We've got screws, nuts, washers, everything you could possibly think of, or anything that you might possibly need to build this frame to your liking is right there in that bag. Here's our 2.5 millimeter carbon fiber frame plate, and if I pull it out, it's got a little bit of silk screening, and it's got a battery pad on it ready to go. This is actually really nice. You get one other little baggie, and inside of it is some very important stuff, depending on how you want to do this. So right here, and you can buy these if it didn't come with it or it broke or whatever, but this is a micro USB male to female in an L configuration. So that's going to allow you to plug this into your stack that's hidden underneath the plate, so it's safe and protected, but allows this connector to be coming up by the top of the frame. So if you need to program, you need to set up, you need to change rates, you need to do whatever it is you need to do, you can do it with your frame assembled and ready to go. You don't have to pull it apart every time and try to finagle and try to get to your USB connection. Also inside of this bag, we've got some connectors, and we have an LED. Now what that's going to do is allow us to install on the back end of the quadcopter, so that way we've got a little bit of light going, whether we want to go with a safety color or a fun color, and you'll be able to see the quadcopter in the nighttime. You'll know front to back if you're doing LOS. It's up to you what you do with this. You don't even have to use it if you don't want to. So looking super close at the 2.5 millimeter frame plate and I'm noticing that there's some very small rings here. They're kind of hard to see, but those are actual lock nuts, just like any other frame that we've ever used lock nuts on before, and there are press nuts, and they're already installed. So I'm going to set this out of my way, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Before we do, I do want to point out the motors of my choice is going to be the 1404 4500 kV motors. These are BetaFPV motors. They come with screws, a little bit of carbon, all 4 motors in one box, ready to go. And what you'll see is they're brushless motors, so you do have your 3 wires, but they're already connected to a plug. If you happen to get the same motors as me, be mindful when you purchase your propellers, you'll need to buy the T-style propellers, as the M5 shaft style will not work with these motors. All right, for my stack, I have went ahead and gone with the BetaFPV stack. It just makes sense. It's a Beta drone, Beta stack. So here we go. We've got this beautiful stack. It's an F405 20 amp toothpick stack. And what that means is it's got our flight controller and ESC all built into one. Whoo, look at that. That is a beauty. So I want to point out one more thing, and another reason why I selected this flight controller is you're going to see this plug right here. This is a DJI plug. What that means is it will allow you to plug and play with your Vista, whether it's a Nebula Pro or a Polar, doesn't matter. Those wirings will connect right here to this plug as long as you solder it up that way, and it'll literally be plug and play. Pushing this new version 4 F405 stack by BetaFPV, you're going to notice this little chip right here, and that is your gyro. And if you are at all familiar with them, you're probably used to the MPU 6000. If you look at that chip and you recognize that it does not look like a MPU 6000, and the reason why is because it's not. It is a BMI 270. It's a lot smaller and it is a lot more sensitive, but with proper filtering and lower frequencies, it does phenomenal on these smaller quadcopters. So if you're having any issues with that, there are some presets that you can upload to this to make it fly and handle better with less prop wash and noise and all the other things that come with a disruptive gyro. And last up for our build, we're gonna need VTX and camera. Now, as you know, I'm going digital, so what I went with was the Naked Nebula Nano. This is an awesome little stack. It's basically a full Vista without that hard shell. So you're probably thinking, Drain Man, how are you going to fit your stack and your Vista all in this little spot and make it neat and tidy without them touching and blah, blah, blah? Well, I have a nice surprise for you. Inside of this bag right here, BetaFPV has actually included 4 screws and a CNC'd plate. I've literally 3D printed plates just like this. They usually snap on a hard crash, but that is where the CNC comes in place. This is like an aluminum or a metal. We don't have to worry about it breaking or having too much flexibility and vibrating and causing problems. So I'm super excited about that. That is going to allow us to mount stack and Vista all in one shot, no problemos. So the first thing we should mount should be our flight controller. Let's go ahead and grab that. We've got our bag of goodies that comes with it. We've got our flight controller, and then they actually gave us an XT30 connector with a capacitor heat shrinked on. All right, so for mounting our motors, we have a couple options. The first option is we can go ahead and just cut this connector clean off, and then we can solder our motor directly to the stack. I mean, that's what you would normally do. But because they already have a connector on them, and the flight controller ESC combo came with connectors, why wouldn't we use them? So, wow, that's incredible. So what they've got is they've got 3 big pads if you were going to solder yourself, or 3 little pads that connect to this little cute connector just like that. So with the connector on top, I'll try to hold it and flip it over, and you want to make sure that it's seated all the way. Grab your soldering iron, grab your solder, and then just go ahead and flow a little bead on top of each motor connection. Now that's on and strong, I can guarantee that. Oh, I didn't even notice. Look, you have 2 different options. You got options on your options. Your option on how to mount the motors, you now have the option to put on straight connectors. Look, so your 3 pins are actually going straight. which would allow you to mount like this. Let me show you. And then with this standing up straight like that, you would plug down instead of plugging in. That's super nice. I am going to go with the laying flat style just because it's what I like. It's a little cleaner, it's a little tighter. All right, just like that, we have all 4 motor connectors on and looking good. All right, so this is just, who knew building an awesome Cinewhoop could be so fun but yet so simple. Okay, so with all 4 grommets installed, we're ready to mount this. All right, so let's put one up and we will drop our stack on. Boom. Then you'll grab your CNC and just lay that on top just like that. Wow, look at that. That is, not only is that strong, also gives us the grommet, right? Soft mounted. It's got our mounting for our Vista. So we'll grab a motor, we'll pick a plug for that corner, take it, and just simply plug it in. Make sure it's seated all the way, which mine is. And I like to give a twist or two so that way my motor wires aren't all frayed and all over the place. Then take it, seat it, grab a screw, pass it through, grab your driver, and snug it up. Now I recommend when you put your first couple on, don't over tighten. That way it's easy to line up the rest. And then you can grab your last few and snug them all the way in there. Boom. And then go back around and give each one like another quarter turn or so just to make sure they're all nice and tight. All right, there you go. Motor 1 is on, mounted, and connected, ready to roll. I'm getting excited. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit the rest of these, and I'll meet you back here. All right, looky here. So we are just killing it, and it's just looking so good. Everything is coming together absolutely beautifully. So what's very cool about this stack, and one of the reasons I selected it, is it comes with this plug right here, which will allow us to set this aside, bring our Vista in, wire up just like that, and then plug and play. So let's go ahead and set that up now. Okay, so with all pads already tinned on my naked Vista, I'm going to grab a little bit of solder and I'm going to tin the pads on my wires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, depending on you, you may be running a BetaFPV radio, you may be running an FR Sky, you may be running Crossfire. Whatever you're running for your receiver is how you'll connect. Me, I run the DJI radio, so I will make sure that I connect all wires of this connector. If you're not, make sure that you unplug the ground and the S-bus for your receiver signal, okay? And we're going to begin with the red wire, which is our positive. And let's get that attached. Now we're going to need our ground. Now let's get this one connected. Next up after ground is yellow, and then we have ground, and lastly is our S-bus yellow. And even though those are very small pads, they're actually kind of hard to reach because they're kind of up under there. As you can see, it was very easy to put on. It was nothing crazy. I recommend getting visual on it. Make sure nothing's touching that's not supposed to be. And then also make sure you have good connections. Then what I like to do is I always give them a little twist. I feel like this is for good measure. Our camera goes this way, so we want to make sure we have enough cord, but this looks like plenty for me. But I'm going to still cock it this way, so that way if I do need a little bit of extra, I have it, you know, available. And then we'll mount that just like that. Now, being a naked, I got to be mindful that none of my components are touching this CNC metal, because that could potentially be dangerous. Okay, so with all 4 sticking out, I'm going to throw this over. Wow, look at that. That is looking amazing. Woo! and you have no idea how strong that is. Dang, that was super smart. It was a pain in the neck because I had to draw back all the screws and put them all back in, but that's part of the creativity, that's part of the excitement, and that's just part of building the best Cinewhoop that you have seen this year. Okay, that is super tight and super snug, so that's great. So our camera is now mounted into the TPU, and as you can see, it wasn't that difficult. So now what we'll do is we'll actually mount it. And how that works is, look at this. Yes, that is it. Our camera is now mounted. Isn't that incredible? Now I'll tuck my camera wire, you know, right here or something like that. And then we need to drive some screws in to hold it down. And as you see, I'm actually mounting from the bottom and snug. So there you go, just like that. Holy cow, this is starting to look like a drone. Cool, and we've got some extra wire there. That's not a problem. We'll tuck that up in there. We're gonna grab our LED plug and we're gonna plug in our LED. Boom, and it's LED 5-volt ground. So let's grab our soldering iron, and it's definitely tight inside of there. You might not be able to see, so I'm going to go ahead and just get it done. And that will include the soldering for our LED. So now this can run back here and sit right how we want it to sit. All right, so with our LED done, motors mounted, camera mounted, stack mounted, everything mounted, we're on to the final pieces of the puzzle. I am going to mount my battery pads, which are these two right here. And all this does is help you keep your battery stable and also give you something to strap to. So you cut off that little piece and you literally mount one there. Boom. And you mount one there. Boom. So let me go ahead and hit those real quick. And there you go. And what that does, that gives you a place to put your battery and a place to put your battery strap, and then loop it and shut it. And let's go ahead and connect our UFL. Boom. Let's go ahead and grab our TPU antenna holder. And it actually is a two-part system, because what it's also going to do is it's also going to hold our LED in. Okay, so I'm missing one little piece. There is a TPU. It's clear, so that way the LED is kind of see-through. But that's what keeps this in place. And what it does is it kind of holds your LED snug, but it allows it to kind of glow on it. It's kind of cool looking. So, oh, look at that. It's going to kind of be like a brake light. How cool is that? All right, and then we're going to feed our wires down in this hole, just like that. Look how cool. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Look at that. So now we just take some screws, and we'll drive them in right here, and that'll hold our top on. Ooh. And then it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws to hold this whole thing together. Now I'm not going to put in all 6 screws, because I do need to get back in there, get to my micro USB and set everything up on Betaflight. But I just wanted to show you, look at that. That is super awesome. There's our antenna. We've got our brake light. We've got our camera mounted and in the TPU. We've got our plate, our motors inverted. We've got this nice little belly. We can land on it, but we may have our props hitting the grass or something, so you won't be able to land on like tall grass or anything like that. But I hope that you guys are as excited about this as I am. I can't wait to test this out, get some cinematic footage flying through the trees and doing my thing. And with the foam put on the edges with a little bit of adhesive that it comes with, you're pretty much safe to fly around stuff that you normally couldn't fly around before. I wouldn't say fly around people, but you're going to be in a much better position than you would. If anybody wanted to know, I'm going to run a 4S 750 or 850 pack on here, and I am just stoked out. All right, so quick recap before we take it outside and take it to the sky. Here she is, ready to rock and roll. So I went ahead and went with the black foam, as you can see here. I went ahead and used the D63 GemFan props. They are like a ducted style. That's what the D stands for. You can see here how the battery strap goes between the two 3D printed parts. I'm going to be running a 4S 850 milliamp hour pack. That will mount right here. For now, I'm not running an action cam, but at some point, maybe I'll put my 360 Go 2 or something like that on here. We'll just have to see where the wind blows. Antennas out the back. There is a hole right here where the XT30 was able to come out. And I mean, overall, this thing is absolutely awesome. Can't wait to take it out and try it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you'll enjoy the flight footage, and I will see you on the next one.